Let's begin.
Here we go! Hi, everybody!
Start the insanity.
You are not worried, are you?
Me? No.
Well, we're waiting.
Hello, welcome to Super Media All-Stars. We're a weekly podcast, and tonight we are talking about video games. I'm your host, John Harris, returning with guest star.
From the death?
From the death, yeah. With guest stars, Jake Boston. Is that Mario and Luigi?
It's some gibberish.
Sounds like some gibberish.
It sounds like Mario and Luigi from Mario. What's that RPG game?
Superstar Saga.
Yeah, Superstar.
I think you might hear more about it later.
Whoa! And we got Andy Guild.
Can't let you do that, Starbuck. You're not so tough.
Nice.
Great.
Not worth it.
We got a great episode tonight. We'll be going over our favorite JRPGs, as it is a good time to talk about it, since we are also going to be talking about Octopath Traveler, which also just came out a week ago today, Friday, so we'll be sharing some thoughts there. But before we dive into things, it's been a little bit since we talked video games. Outside of our main subject, what have you guys been playing?
I've been playing 3 games that have come out within the past 3 months.
Nice.
I'll start out with the shittiest one first, and that one I actually beat all the way. And I can't believe I beat it, but I played and beat Shaq Fu.
Oh, did you?
A Hero Reborn or Legend Reborn or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it free, he said?
I got it for free. I bought NBA Playgrounds for $20 when it came out day one, and the online wasn't working. So okay, here's whenever Shaq Fu comes out, we'll just give you a free code.
They assume that if you're a fan of NBA Playgrounds, you're gonna like Shaq Fu.
Shaq, makes sense.
I guess.
And so yeah, this game's $40, which is insane because I beat it in 3 hours. It plays like the first Shaq Fu, except a little better. The story knows that it's really stupid, so it's
as it should.
Yeah, I liked it more than I thought I would. I'll just say that. That's why I ended up beating it, because the story was actually funny. There's one to where out of nowhere, all the bosses are just random fucking people, but this one, it's this Latina woman. She's like, tacos. she takes this taco and starts feeding it to her ass.
What?
And Shaq just looks like what Jim Carrey from The Mask does. His eyes just open really big and his tongue rolls out and everything.
Like he's into it?
He's just what's going on here? But he's totally into it. This Latina is feeding stuff to her butt, so her butt gets super gassy, and the girl turns into a giant ass. And that's one of the bosses that you face.
Yikes.
It's really bad. I'll show you the clip after the podcast, but yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous, and it knows it's stupid, and it kind of plays up on that. To get full max health again, you collect Gold Bond.
Oh my god. Jesus.
Yeah, and
a marketing ploy.
That's awful.
It's really repetitive, and it does a lot of the Arkham style fighting mechanics. So it is what it is. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Nice. Did it also come with maybe it wasn't real, the Obama Fu?
I don't think that's real.
It's not real?
I'm not sure. Yeah,
I did some digging, and there's nothing to this game. There are no DLCs to be seen. So
yeah, I know I linked that to you guys. They had an Obama impersonator talking about how he was going to be in the game, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's real or not either.
I really hope it is real, and if there's more storylines to it, I'll pay some money to do it, because this is just dumb fun.
It's like the Barry O expansion or something.
Yeah.
Well, they did a Kickstarter for this game.
Yeah.
Shaq was pitching this Kickstarter on Facebook and stuff, so they must have got Gold Bond to kick in some money, and they said we'll just put Gold Bond all over this thing.
That'd be my guess too. I miss Icy Hot, but
yeah.
I guess Gold Bond works too.
Yeah.
I bought another game that was $40.
What's that?
I rebought Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Oh yeah, you're a big fan of this game.
Yeah, that game came out the same day as Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
And this game's awesome still, by the way. Before I say anything else,
I can imagine.
This game is so underrated, and I'm glad it came back out on the Switch so more people can play it. But it's weird because it really feels like a relic of the Wii U.
Oh, really?
Just because there are so many levels that are from Super Mario 3D World.
Oh, sure.
It's very strange. The twin cherry is in a lot of these levels, and just the art style is straight up 3D World.
But they took out the 3D World specialty levels.
They did, but they didn't. Like, they took out the worlds that are specifically from that game.
Yeah.
But there are still a lot of realms, and like the art style, they didn't change the art style. They just stayed exactly the same, and that's what 3D World is.
Didn't you post something to our group chat about a relic?
Yeah, so they straight up ported this game, and they changed some stuff, but they left a when you tap an amiibo on the screen. So on the Wii U, you tapped it on the left side, but on the Switch, you tap it on the right side.
Okay.
And if you tap the amiibo on the right side of your Switch, there's like a little thing that lights up on the left side of the screen where it would have been on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they are going to fix that or if they have fixed it. But
I don't think so.
Do you use amiibo with this at all?
I haven't yet, but I know they just unlock the Odyssey levels, so I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
And it's weird for $40. I think when it came out on Wii U, it cost $40, and it also came with a Toad amiibo.
Sure.
So it's just, I feel like I overspent on this one, but I really wanted to play it. I love puzzle games, and on the Switch, it's just a nice, sweet spot for it.
Does the dynamic of having the Wii U pad and the TV suffer on this version? Not having it?
It feels really small handheld on the Switch.
Does it?
It feels really small. Like, they have an option where you can like zoom in twice.
Okay.
So that helps a little bit, but there are some times where like I had to put it really close to my face to be like, oh, okay, I think I can do this. But I mean, it plays kind of like Fez, to where like you, if you turn the screen 90 degrees, you get a whole different perspective, and you have to solve puzzles that way and whatnot. And
I'm actually surprised this game came out when it did.
I really think that the Switch right now is just living and breathing off of Wii U ports. It's very strange.
Other than the main subject, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even with Smash Brothers coming out, like, it's not a straight up Wii U port, but it's a lot like the Wii U game.
Oh, okay, buddy, calm down.
It is. It's like Wii U Plus.
Everyone is here, and they weren't in Smash 4.
Yeah, I know, but that's the only change. Like, oh, hey, it's going to be the same art style pretty much. It's not really, but it's pretty much.
They're updating it. Everything looks a lot better, I think, from... Well, I mean, I only played on the 3DS.
You didn't even play the Wii U
I played on the
one.
3DS, but like looking at some comparisons, like on character models and stuff, they look quite a bit better. I was thinking, like, they're porting all this stuff. I'm still waiting for the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD ports to come.
That'll never happen.
Those are the only two that I want, really.
That'll never happen.
Those and Pikmin 3 would be great.
See, I want 3D World.
That'd be cool, too. I
And
never
Super
played
Mario
that one.
Maker.
Yeah, there were a couple.
You never played 3D World
Nope.
with the cats, and you love cats?
I watched some friends play the final boss, the Bowser cat.
It's the best.
Yeah, that's my favorite Bowser ever. He's so funny.
That game's so underrated, and I think it's gonna just stay on that dead console, and that makes me sad.
What would make sense, but they won't do it, is just bundle those remakes together for a Switch port. Like, put Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker in one package.
That'd be so great. I haven't played Twilight Princess forever. I played it like once ever, I think.
Or I dare say a recurring thing we always want on this show is a Galaxy 1 and 2 HD remake.
Oh yeah,
But we'll never get it.
I'm good.
we'll see. We'll see. I can't believe we haven't gotten the Odyssey DLC yet. I'm shocked
Yeah.
we haven't even heard anything about it. So I don't know if they're gonna do it or not.
Surprisingly, we got an update for Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, we did.
That was weird,
That came out of the blue.
Why not? I don't care. The game's over a year old, and they're still giving us free shit.
Yeah. Like
I'll take whatever I can
I'm
get.
kind of thinking they're going to put that out for the online.
Yeah.
To like try to update the game for online as well as have this new stuff in there.
Well, it's Breath of the Wild stuff. You get like his master bike, whatever the fuck that's
yeah.
called.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty
Master
cool.
Cycle. It's his-
Sure.
it's-
Oh man, how cool is that?
It's Link's Divine Beast. I got it in Breath of the Wild. I got the DLC and I got it. It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, it's just gonna act like a regular motorcycle in Mario Kart.
Yeah, bro. But it's got a horse head on
Ooh, to derail us even farther,
it. It's just gone.
I've,
I'm not even to what I'm playing yet.
I had not a predicament, but a situation. I want to see if you guys have maybe experienced in your own way.
Hit me, John.
But speaking of Breath of the Wild, I came back from vacation, right? For
Sure.
8 hours of our drive home, Danielle played Breath of the Wild for the first time.
Oh,
And she was hooked.
Yeah.
But since then,
Oh, no.
I've been wanting to play Octopath.
And you can't.
But she's had the Switch ever since playing this game.
you buy your Switch, just make both of you happy.
Yep. You
That's what
got
you're
to
gonna have to do.
And when Mario Party comes out, you'll already have 2 Switches to play, like
That's
with
true.
the Kinect games. My girlfriend played hundreds of hours of Zelda, a few months ago, maybe last winter or whatever, and super hooked. She was hooked in a way that she was like on her laptop looking up all the Korok locations to get every single one, and she eventually gave up with like 20 left because she didn't mark a few, so now she has to like go back and like check every single spot, and she's like,
no way.
Not worth it.
Yeah, that's not fun at all.
Yeah, plus you get like a golden poo if you get him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy, like, he'll give you a golden poo, and the only thing it does is if you give it to him, he'll make a weird noise or something. It's just to, like, troll people who actually did it.
Sure.
Just on a social note, like, I was trying to think of how to walk up to Daniel, like, hey, can I play my game now? It's kind of my system, and I just got this game.
I'm quite forceful. I'm like, get off. It's my turn.
On one system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, I mean... Yeah, get her a Switch.
I have one more game. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
We're still on this.
No,
on
let's
me.
go for it. Let's go for it.
It's a game that I didn't think I was going to pick up, but I had a funny story. One of the Walmarts selling clearance games. I love it when they do that. Mm-hmm. They were selling Mario Tennis Ultra Smash.
For the Wii U?
For the Wii U. They're selling the Wii U version for $10.
Oh.
Wow.
So I picked up a copy, and then I'm like, I heard this game's horrible. I don't really want this. I just bought it for $10 because why the fuck not? I returned it to Target.
Oh, really?
And Target gave me $50 for it.
Oh.
So with that money, I pretty much just bought Mario Tennis Aces for $20.
Nice.
And so I've probably played like 3 hours worth of that game so far.
How is it?
It's surprisingly way better than what the scores that I've been reading have been.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I've been playing story mode. You have to collect these power stones, and there's 5 of them to collect. I just finished getting my second one, and I don't get, like, I'm not super far into it yet, but I don't get the gripes of it getting too hard or, like, not doing what you want to do in a story mode.
Really?
I'm enjoying myself, and it's Mario Tennis. Like, you're supposed to get better with your skills, and they test what you can do. Like, that's what this game does, and I'm having a blast with it.
Have you had a chance to check out online or tournament?
Done none of that yet. I played some like singles games, and then I played story mode. That's about it. I bought it a couple days ago, so I haven't had a lot of time to play with it. But yeah, it's super fun, and I definitely want to play with you guys because this is addicting. Like, this is the best Mario Tennis game since 64. And you can get this into basic stuff, but I like this version just because like they put Nintendo quirk into it. Like, it's just like Smash items, pretty much.
Right.
That's what this Mario Tennis is. Just normal. Like, if you play on a pirate ship, there's a mast in the middle, and you can do like trick shots off the mast. Like, if you think you're hitting it left to right, you can hit it like left to left, like bounce it off the post and hit it left to left.
That's cool.
It's super fun. And then there's this like haunted mansion level to where they have like mirrors, and you can shoot it thinking that you're going to go somewhere, but it goes through one mirror, comes out the other, comes back to you, and you hit it the opposite way.
Huh.
Like,
that's cool.
There's a whole bunch of variables in this game that just make it super fun, and I just want to play it with more people now. Like, it's fun single player, but multiplayer, it's going to be amazing. I'm done. Somebody else go.
Okay. I picked up did we talk about the Mario Rabbids expansion? Donkey Kong?
Vaguely, yeah.
I mentioned I started it.
Okay, I went on a long road trip a couple weeks ago, and I got it, and I played through the whole thing and beat it, and I thought it was great.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, you beat it already?
Oh, yeah.
How long was it?
So it's we were talking about how it's got like 5 worlds or whatever, or 4 worlds. It's got 4 scenarios in the one world. So it's not as long as we were being led to believe.
So I just got through like the jungle door.
Yeah, so there's like it's like 4 different like Donkey Kong themed areas. So there's like the jungle, the beach, and then a couple others. But it's really good. I was a little disappointed that they didn't throw in more Donkey Kong stuff. Like, I expected like a couple cameos maybe, but nothing like that. It was just basically like go through with Peach, Cranky, and Donkey Kong. Go through the whole thing, beat the couple bosses at the end, and yeah, there you go. But I haven't got into like there's like post game challenges you can unlock. I haven't gotten into that yet, but I played the whole basic thing and really liked it. Oh, I also picked up Enter the Gungeon on Switch.
Love that game.
Yeah, which is so fun.
It's so fun.
I don't know what this is.
It's it's kind of like Binding of Isaac, where it's like a dungeon crawler where you go into randomly generated levels and you like shoot and like. This one has like 360 directions. It's like a more accurate firing, I guess.
Remember when we played Super Smash TV?
Yeah.
Imagine that, except batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And Super Smash TV is batshit crazy,
yeah.
but like this is just like 16-bit. You have so many different types of guns that you can collect, and they all do wildly different things.
It's crazy.
Was it ported to the eShop? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's on Switch.
Okay.
I actually own it on PC and Switch. I liked it so much I picked it up on Switch too, which I usually don't double down on stuff like that. Like, I didn't even double down on Binding of Isaac, which I love.
Yeah.
But this was cheap enough. I was like, yeah, why not? Throw it on there.
Ooh, I bought Sonic Mania Plus.
Yeah.
I bought it today. I haven't played it yet, though.
Okay, that's the other game I was playing. I don't have Plus, but I played Sonic Mania because I bought it a while ago and then I hated it and then I stopped playing.
You hated it?
And then I tried to pick it up again. Still kind of hate it.
Uh-oh.
I just don't like it.
You're the only person that I've heard say bad things about it.
Well, my favorite Sonic is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is like
that's mine too.
Perfectly done. It's executed perfectly, and this game feels like it. I believe it started out as a fan game that Sega bought and licensed.
Okay.
And you definitely feel that a little bit. I mean, it plays to like all the like Sega Sonic nostalgia, but at the same time, I feel like it's a little heavy-handed at points, and then the level design is not nearly. The level design's more like harsh on you than the old games. Like a lot of like running into bumpers that bump you into spikes, or like enemies that just like pop out of nowhere that you have to like memorize where they are if you don't want to get hit. Stuff like that. That just doesn't feel fair. It always felt fair in the old games, but in this one there's a few points where it's like, yeah, I couldn't have avoided that.
I know for Plus they introduced like some 2 random new Sonic characters.
I have them right here.
Do you?
Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel.
Yeah, that sounds like some Sonic characters.
I guess I think Ray the Flying Squirrel is from like a Sega Game Gear game.
Oh, really?
And Mighty the Armadillo is from like
Chaotix, Knuckles.
Is it?
Chaotix? I believe so.
Okay.
And people are like online like, these cherished characters that I love are finally in the game. It's like, who the fuck are you? And where the fuck did you grow up? Like, this kid's like 12, like, Game Gear that I had when I was a zygote.
Okay, bud.
I fucking loved it.
I just know that the repackaging they did for this, because I think Sonic Mania, the original, only came out digitally for Switch the first time.
Like, even the collector's edition was a digital code, right?
Yeah, that's right. So Plus, having seen the new package, actually comes with a physical cartridge.
Yeah, it does.
And
it looks like a Genesis book.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
It comes like in a big, oversized container, like all sparkly gold. So it comes with like a booklet of the history of Sonic.
Right.
It comes with the Switch case. The artwork on that looks like a Sega Genesis game, just like with the Genesis labeling on the left-hand side.
That's so cool.
I do like that. They also, I haven't seen it, but they released a TV commercial that is reminiscent of like the old like Sega, like, you get it by a Sega, idiot. You know, like those weird commercials.
I've seen it and I loved it. Like, it's weird that I didn't like get all up in the hype of when the main game came out, but I got up enough to buy it when I saw that commercial and just like saw the packaging and it's only $30. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking buy it.
Yeah, I felt like there was a swell of hype like for a week maybe, and then I think something else might have come out that just kind of overshadowed it. But
and I really wanted that statue too, but I'm a sucker for having physical media.
Yeah,
that's the main reason why I didn't buy it. As sad as that is, I'm hoping I can find that statue in a garage sale like 10 years from now.
Yeah, well, it's no coincidence that half these eShop games are getting like limited runs by, I think it's a company called Limited Run Games.
It is. Golf Story is doing that.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to buy it. John, what did you play?
Because of my predicament earlier.
Oh, right.
I didn't get a chance to play much. And like the last thing I was working on was the Donkey Kong expansion. I'm going to take a break from that game because obviously, we'll be talking about a little more later, is Octopath Traveler is going to eat up a lot of my time.
Yes, it is.
All right, let's jump into our next subject, and that is going to be our discussion surrounding our favorite JRPGs. And this is coming from our experience with Octopath Traveler, which kind of brings back along these reminiscent games that we used to play a lot growing up, and we still enjoy today. So I asked these guys to come up with their top 3 favorite JRPGs and an alternate, just in case we have some layover, and we'll have some discussion about these games. But in the classic roundtable fashion, we'll start with the number 3s and work our way up. So I'll go ahead and kick it off with my number 3. Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance.
That's okay.
Was that on your list, Andy?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big fan of this game.
I loved this game. It was one of the rare good JRPGs on the Game Boy Advance that I actually enjoyed. And it's one of those dead franchises that we probably never will see
Yeah,
again.
I feel like the there was like a DS one that was not great. They kind of killed it.
Dark Sun,
Yeah.
or Dark Dawn.
Yeah, that was it. Yep.
Golden Sun and Advanced Wars we will never see again, and it makes me so sad.
And it's locked to the GBA.
Yeah. See, I never played Golden Sun, but I played the shit out of Advanced Wars, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
And that died on the DS too.
Yeah, Golden Sun. I played both of those games. I remember them fondly, but I went back and was playing them maybe a few years ago on like a emulator. Don't tell anybody, but it just didn't really hold up very well.
I guess we'll go with me.
Let's do it.
Okay, my number 3. I'm not a big JRPG guy. They take up way too much time, and I would rather spend my time playing like 4 other games than one game over and over again.
Sure.
But I was able to pick out at least 3 JRPGs that I like. So my number 3 is in the Pokemon series, because of course it has to be.
Yeah.
It's very simple, kiddish, but I played this when I was like 10 years old and I loved it. I think I'm going to go with Pokemon Gold.
Nice. Yeah.
It's a good one.
I think that's a good, like, average middle of the road. Like, hey, if you never played one before, play this.
We don't get to talk Pokemon very much.
Not really.
So I'm just going to... I love Gold, because Gold lets you go to Johto and Kanto.
That was
Damn
so
right
cool.
it did.
That was like a twist at the end. Like go back to the old game. Like
Exactly. And
was
you get a
amazing.
face red again. Or
Yeah, that was
I
great.
loved it.
The guy you played from the first one. It's
Yeah, it
so
was-
good.
yeah.
So fucking good.
I love Johto.
Yeah.
That was good.
Well, plus it had like all the originals and then like just enough new ones to make it seem like interesting to you, but not like so many new ones that you don't care.
right.
Yeah.
I feel like the first generation are my favorite Pokemon.
Of course.
The second one it didn't get like bad until like the third generation, where they were
That's
like
my thoughts,
making
too.
like here's a sloth.
Yeah,
Here
Ruby-
is a flower.
Ruby Sapphire, I don't like at all.
I don't either.
Okay.
They also got a really good port, which I don't think is pretty much not really remembered remotely, as like Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came with like the pedometer.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was a really good one. That was they made Fire Red, Leaf Green first, and then they made those. They were 3DS games, weren't they?
I think they were just DS.
Just
DS.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those were really good.
All right, Andy, what are you looking at?
So my third favorite. This was probably I think this was the first like JRPG style game I ever played, and I only played it because I played Smash 64, and I was like, "Who is this Ness character?"
Oh.
And I think this actually also got me into like getting emulators and stuff online, which I was a minor, so not a felony. So yeah, Earthbound. And
Nice.
actually, I have a couple to mention here. So I played through Earthbound, a long time ago when I was a kid, and I'd play it like once a year, and I was really into it. I
Wow.
really liked it. Yeah, I played it a lot.
How long does this take to beat?
It's not that long for a JRPG. Probably like 40 hours,
Okay.
which for like some of them take like 80. It's crazy.
I think I've bought it twice now, and I've yet to finish it.
Really?
So I bought it on the Wii U when it was ported. It was like a big deal when it got ported to the Wii
Oh
U.
yeah, it was.
It was.
And I never finished it.
And then to kind of go along with that, I also got so Mother 3 is the sequel to Earthbound, because in Japan Earthbound is called Mother 2, and there was a Mother game on NES.
Came out only for GBA, right? In
Yep.
Japan.
So yeah, it came out on GBA in Japan, and then over the course of years, a fan community translated it. So I got the translated ROM of Mother 3 and played it. And I had to admit to myself, after much contemplation, that it's way better than Earthbound in every
Really?
way. In every way, yeah. So they change up the battle system. So instead of sitting there and saying like, I attack, I use magic, whatever, you attack, and then you have to like, you can tap the button for extra damage, but you have to tap it in line with the beat of the game. So like the battle music will have like a beat to it, and you have to tap like dun 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 to like keep going with it.
So that's like rhythm heaven.
Yeah, it plays like a rhythm game, like a
Weird.
rhythm mini game, which is weird. And I actually was having trouble with it, and I found out years later that the ROM version of it had an anti-piracy thing that made the music off of what it should be. So it's a lot
course it
harder.
did.
It's a lot harder to do it, because I remember playing it and thinking like, well, if I want to get in time with this, I have to be like off a beat, and like it was super weird.
All right, let's get back to our list here. And jumping into our number 2s is actually one that's very recent to me, but I think it's probably one of the best JRPGs I've ever played, and that's Persona 5.
Of course it is.
And I've talked plenty of them on the show about it, but it's still a classic turn-based JRPG that just reinvents the formula enough that it's fresh and new. And if you've seen anything Persona 5, the art just takes it away for that game. So,
And that's another game that you can play for like hundreds of hours.
yep. And there's just multiple there's so many things to do.
How many hours have you put into it, John?
Between two playthroughs,
Damn.
probably 150 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about
And
right.
the first playthrough was only 100 hours because you can skip 50 hours of cutscenes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's so much
Jesus.
talking and story development in that game that you just move on. So,
All right. My number 2. I've said this numerous times on the podcast, but I never had a home console growing up. It was all like GBA and PSP for this guy.
yeah.
And one game that I fell in love with on the Game Boy Advance was Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. This game
Very
is
good.
so fucking good and so hard.
Yeah.
And like you can spend an hour just on one match, and if you lose, you're pissed.
Yeah, that
But,
game
like,
is hardcore.
It's amazing, and this is one of the very few games that I've spent over 100 hours in.
Was this you said the GBA version?
Yeah, I never played the PS1 version. The GBA was amazing for a lot of games that came out in the 16-bit era.
Yeah.
Just because it was like made for that.
Right.
And even though this game came out for PS1 with that type of graphics, it's amazing. And just I'm a big fan of like the grid type battle systems
Yeah.
that some JRPGs have. A lot of them do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know why this game got me as good as it did, and I'm not even a big Final Fantasy guy.
It's I think it's really immersive and you have a ton of options when you go into the fights and like a lot of customization for characters.
Yeah, so many characters you can pick from.
And I believe the Game Boy Advance version is the version that people consider to be the better, like the superior version of it.
Yeah,
just because there's some differences in gameplay.
Yeah, I've played both the one on PSP and I played the PSX one, and I don't like either of them as much as I do the GBA version.
Wow.
It's great. I don't know what it is to it, and all of them play exactly the same, but just like the art style for this one, I think just kind of gets it over the top for me.
To your point, I think that it's mostly viewed as one of the best JRPGs among mainstream media.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
yeah,
is.
makes sense.
It's really solid.
All right, I'm up. So if let's say if Earthbound got me into these kind of games, this next game like just put it over the edge for me, and I fell in love with JRPGs for a while. Final Fantasy VI, which John, you played recently.
I did.
I was very excited for you to play
Yes.
because this game, when I played Earthbound and then I played this, and this was just like on another level, like blew me away completely. I couldn't believe it. It was and Octopath reminds me of this game a lot, just like the art style and the some of the little things the game does.
It's so familiar on so many levels with this
Yeah,
path in this game.
It really is. Yeah, I really like this game because they have this game has a lot of very memorable like set pieces, especially like some of the giant boss battles. Like I think my favorite fight is that ghost train because it's just so memorable. I don't know why, because your characters are like standing off like on nothing, and this train's moving, and you're like, what the fuck? This is so weird. And then of course the final battle is like, I think the final battle is the most epic Final Fantasy final boss probably ever still.
Kefka God mode.
Yeah, it's so good. And you like, one of your characters get knocked out, they ascend in the next one. Like, depending on how many characters you got, you just keep going and going. It's great.
So my number 1 was Final Fantasy VI.
What?
It was.
I thought you were going to go with 7.
No.
Really?
I like
Wow.
7, but 7 I played so late I didn't appreciate it for its original
Oh, man.
effect.
Didn't you play 3 even later?
Yeah, but 3 I love. I know.
So
Pixel
here's-
holds up better than PlayStation.
I was just
Definitely,
thinking that
definitely.
when you go back and play FF7 or something, it looks like total ass. And if you go back and play Final Fantasy VI, it holds up completely.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of how that game translated. But I was gonna go for my alternate now, since I don't have a 1. Chrono Trigger. I've only played it once.
I'm glad that got brought up. That was my number 4.
That's my number 1.
Oh no,
That's one of my favorite games of all time.
it's really good.
It's amazing.
I've only played it once completely, and that was on the DS.
Oh
Yeah, me
no!
too.
You gotta play it on the Super Nintendo. They changed Frog's voice, like not his voice, but his the way he speaks. Because in the SNES, he's like, "Thou sayeth whatever," and then in the Super Nintendo, they toned that down a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it kind of wrecks his character a little bit.
The DS version, though, just made great use of the touch controls, but also just like after so much years of hearing the hype about Chrono Trigger from everybody in the JRPG world, after playing it, I really, really liked it.
This game, I think the thing it does brilliantly is when it comes to like time travel is that you first go back into like the medieval time, which is like your classic fantasy, like, hey, this is a fun time, you know, you're saving the princess, whatever. And then it shows you like the threat, and then it jumps you into the future where everything's fucked, and you're like, holy shit. And then it kind of brings you, when you go to 65 million BC, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And everything they show you back then, like, moves into like the overarching story. Like, this is how Lavos came to be. Like, he got buried in the ground here because the lizards were trying to. Oh, it's so great. I love it. Everything about it. It's amazing. I wrote notes, guys. Like, come on.
No, I kind of figured.
I have played this like 8 or 9 times, like through. I mean, and I can play it pretty quickly now because I kind of know what I'm doing when I go into the game.
What's a quick playthrough? Because I think I sank 65 hours, maybe 70 in that game.
I think you can get through in 30.
Can you?
Which, I mean, quick playthrough, quote unquote. I feel like there aren't very many memorable boss fights except for like Magus and Lavos at the end.
Sure.
But when the story as a whole like envelops you, I don't even care about like important boss fights.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was
the story
just thinking
is so
of
engrossing in this.
I was thinking of like comparing it to Final Fantasy VI. There aren't as many like memorable moments, I guess, but the overall story really gets you. I really love Dalton, that like goofy dude from the proto past or whatever.
Oh,
It's winking at you and like brushing his hair away. There's so much personality in the sprites. It's so great.
My number one is probably one of my top 25 games of all time.
That's good.
I love this, and I could have done a Super Mario RPG because that game is great, and I could have done Paper Mario because that game is super fun too. But I think the game that envelops like my favorite Nintendo memories and has like the best combat system out of all of them, it's just refined, is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
That's a good one.
The first one that came out. Like, I like Bowser's Inside Story a lot, but I think this one just has enough charm and originality to just like bring it over the top.
Well, then it has like some of the best writing that a Mario game has ever had.
Yeah, that game cracks me up.
Yeah, this is the first game that made Luigi into like the stooge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just like, time to shit on Luigi. It's good. And like the whole like gibberish that they speak, like all the Italianese.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Hey, but what do you? Like, yeah, you played it at the beginning. Yeah. I was like, I immediately recognize exactly what that is. I love it.
And just the combat. I mean, like, it's impressive to where like the A button is for Mario, the B button is for Luigi,
right?
And it works as well as it does.
Yeah.
And like you can turn into different things, like you can turn Luigi into like a surfboard, and then like Mario will ride him all over the place.
Yeah.
And just the combat to where it's kind of rhythm based, to where like you have to be pitch perfect on when someone's attacking you to reverse it or dodge it. There's so much just history of Nintendo in here. Like, there's one battle where you fight against viruses from Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
It's so fucking weird.
And it's clever how it works. I remember that one because don't they like change colors when you hit them, and you can line them up and just take them all out at once?
Yep.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's fantastic. And they haven't, like, EGAD is back in this. Like, why the fuck is Professor EGAD in this? It makes no sense.
Yeah. I think that's getting, isn't that getting ported to the 3DS?
Did it happen already?
It did. It's Bowser's Inside Story that's getting ported.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which is also good.
It is.
Yeah, I've played all those games.
Bowser's Inside Story is very good, but I think Superstar Saga is the best. Please just play like even the re-release for 3DS.
Yeah.
It's just
really good.
it's really good, solid fun.
Yeah. Well, I'll wrap it up with my alternate, which was Super Mario RPG. I think everything I had on here was Super Nintendo, except Mother 3 Game Boy Advance, I guess. But Super Mario RPG. I like this one better than the Mario and Luigi games just because it has more of like a classic JRPG feel to it, and I like kind of the grindiness of it. I know you don't, which is why you'd pick this one over it. This game I like how it introduces a lot of characters that they feel like they should be in the Mario universe, and then they never are again, I guess. Like Gino, who everyone wants in Smash.
Right.
This game is the superior Mario RPG.
I think I played all of them. Most recent one being Incompletion was Dream Team, where Luigi goes to sleep and you interact in his dream.
Yeah, that one's good too.
It is good.
I like them all the ones that I played.
Yeah, that one came out for the year Luigi. So
Oh yeah,
good stuff.
That was a real thing.
I think it was it Bowser's Inside Story that introduced the flipping the DS mechanic where it had,
That was really cool.
yeah. And they kept doing that, and that was really good. Mm-hmm. Before we wrap up this subject, I was going to ask some general questions. You guys can throw out some games we haven't really talked about.
Good.
But what is the most time you've sunk into a JRPG, and is it different from any game you've listed?
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, sure.
Advance. I know it was over 100. I want to say it was in between 100 and 140, somewhere in between there.
Damn.
Nice.
I've probably done a 100+ hour run of Final Fantasy VI before.
Nice.
Just because I think the second or third time I played through and I got everything, which I'd never done before, and it's you can shit on Kefka after you do that, but it was a lot of fun.
The one I sunk the most into was actually Final Fantasy VII, and it's because I wasn't playing it right. And I'm not sure if this is. I think it's reminiscent of every Final Fantasy, but there's ultimates you unlock for character moves, and I didn't know how to do that in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, like the limit breaks.
Limit breaks,
Yeah.
thank you. Yes, and then you have these stupid, I don't know, creatures or end boss battles or post boss battle, like these giant magnet creatures you're supposed to fight. And you stand no chance unless you have those moves.
Oh yeah, they're like the Omega weapon and the Ruby weapon. Yeah.
Yeah,
So how long did you spend in it, John?
like 220 hours.
Oh no!
It was just grinding. Like that's not fun JRPG. That's
No.
grinding.
Well, that's I was kind of gonna mention, like, I think the hallmarks of a JRPG are grinding, giant set piece boss battles, and like
Overextended dialogue.
yeah,
That sounds so boring. 2 out of those 3 sound like the worst.
Well,
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Octopath, which fixes a few of those problems, but a lot of it, like games that have great battle systems, like FF6 and Chrono Trigger, you don't get as bored as you feel like you should, I guess I'll say.
Why would you want to play a game where you get so bored? It makes
It's
no
fun,
sense to me.
'cause
No,
you-
it's not fun.
You get the bar goes up and you get stronger, you get better weapons. It's sweet.
I do that in Mario Tennis, and I'm having a blast.
Well, there you go.
I know I'm going to ask you guys. Have you ever started a JRPG thinking you're going to like it, then you quit and never went back to it?
I don't know why I thought this was going to be fun, but Phantasy Star 3,
Oh no.
Yeah.
those are so fucking boring. I think that's why I don't like JRPGs that much. I bought like a Sega collection on the PC. Like I had a PC that I could play as a kid, and I played all the fun arcade platformer games. And then I'm like, oh, these Phantasy Stars. There's 1 through 4 on here. Okay, let's try it. 1 looks like garbage. 2, not fun. 3, I got into a little bit, but got bored so fast, and I'm like, I don't want to play these ever again. And I really haven't.
I played so I actually talked to you about this a little bit. I played Tales of Symphonia on GameCube.
Yeah.
I played through that whole game, and I enjoyed it. It had a good battle system, so you could like just grind through it forever. And then years later, I picked up Tales of Vesperia when it came out on. I think I had a Xbox 360, and it came out on 360. I bought it and I played like 3 hours, and it was so similar to Symphonia. I couldn't get into it. I didn't care.
Really?
Yep.
I tried playing, it's also on Xbox. Was it Lost Odyssey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I was a big Xbox 360 guy. So I wanted to give this JRPG a chance.
Wasn't that a 4-disc game?
I think so.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
You won't see that anymore.
No.
And I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
It was just so bad. And I just, one of those games that if you're going to commit to a JRPG, you got to find one you like.
Actually, I had the same situation with Final Fantasy VIII because I tried to play that and it's just so bad. I just didn't like it. Couldn't get into it.
That's the one with
The gun sword.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's so.
I know that guy from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
That's how I know him.
yeah.
I can't believe Kingdom Hearts was not brought up in any of these.
I feel like Kingdom Hearts is not. It's more of like an action RPG to me, but it definitely has a lot of those hallmarks where you can grind and get the ultimate weapons and all that shit.
What was the one for GBA? Like
Chain of Memories.
Chain of Memories.
No, just Chain of Memories,
Yeah.
and then RE Chain of Memories came out on like PS3.
That one was probably the most JRPG-esque, just because you had like cards that you could play.
Weird battle system.
Yeah, it was very weird,
Yeah.
but I remember liking it quite a bit. I don't know why, but I did.
One last question I'm going to ask you guys is there any game that almost made you be completely done with JRPGs? Because there are a ton of these games, and some of them are, like you said, hot trash. And you might have mentioned them already. And I'll go and kick it off while you guys think about it. One game I played in college, I was super excited for it, and ended up sucking, was the BioWare DS game Sonic Forget what it's called. Like Sonic Chronicles.
That was a JRPG?
Yeah, it was a turn-based Sonic.
That game's so fucking bad.
I've never heard of this game.
Ever heard of this game?
I'm
Sonic
laughing.
Chronicles? No.
I remember how excited you were for this fucking game.
I remember getting it, and like Andy got home like from class or work. I'm like, Andy, did you get Sonic Chronicles? He's like, no.
Oh, you are trash, dude.
So, no, you got to talk more about this. I know nothing about this game.
Oh my god.
So basically, it's like Sonic has all his iconic moves, but they're in turn-based form.
Okay.
And you can have Tails, Sonic, Amy, the whole crew, including Shadow and Metal Sonic, are all in this game.
What about that fat cat guy? Is he
Big,
there?
yeah, Big's
I think
in
he's
it.
there,
Oh,
yeah.
thank God.
Yeah. And they have, like, it starts off, like, fighting Dr. Robotnik and all his things, but then there's a secret mystery bad guy that we never find out because the game doesn't get fleshed out anything past that. They leave it open for a sequel, and nope, never happened.
Of course.
People didn't like Sonic in JRPG form.
Why was it so
Yeah.
bad?
Like, the story felt hand-fisted, and it's just like, this series sucks as a JRPG.
It's a poor man's Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, basically.
Yeah,
Like
that's sad.
you knew what they were trying to do. They put in all the characters you love, and they had a shitty story. Does Eggman join your team at some point?
I think he might does at the end.
Because Bowser joins your team in Mario RPG and in a lot of those games, and
does.
it's always great.
But the worst part was like it was from BioWare at the time, and BioWare was killing it
Wow.
that time.
Yeah, it was
And
weird.
they slaughtered. It must have been the same team that did Andromeda or something.
Did you beat this game, John?
I did.
Oh, why? If you hated it and it almost made you stop playing the genre forever, why did you beat this game?
Because I was in college mode, and like I picked like one game I was going to spend my money on.
Yep.
And I picked Sonic Chronicles for the month, beat it. I was pissed because I was going to get my money's worth out of it. Mm-hmm. And I was at the point where I was like so anti GameStop or trading anything in that I just kept it. So, and I still have it.
Did you
Of course
frame
you do.
you frame the little cartridge?
Never play again.
you have a signed photo of Shadow the Hedgehog behind it. Like, where are those damn Chaos Emeralds?
I don't think anybody really acknowledges that as the Sonic lore.
Nobody remembers that game.
Was this on DS?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks stupid.
It's hot trash. I remember I did get the ROM for this at some point, and I played it for an hour, and I was like, "Oh, John."
Why'd you get so excited for this?
Because
It
I
was
was
Sonic
I was
and
coming
BioWare.
off of I think Knights of the Republic and 2.
Oh, BioWare made you excited.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
this.
BioWare
Okay.
made me excited for
Well,
it.
you also played Sonic 2006, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that, and that was right before this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, Sonic hype was up. Even if it was a shitty game, you had to be
Yeah.
like, I'm familiar with Sonic right now, so let's go for it.
Yeah, and I loved it. I mean, DS had was a growing library that I loved a lot of games on DS, so I was going to give it a chance. It's just that was a turd, a real turd.
I remember one. So in the GameCube era, there were a lot of like just JRPGs they would just throw on that system. Like they'd port stuff from like PS2 over. The Dreamcast. I think there were a few Dreamcast games that got ported over to GameCube. But there was one. You might remember Baten Kaitos.
Yeah, it had like a huge like character base.
Yeah, a lot of characters, and I believe it was also a card-based battle system.
Oh, really?
In a way, yeah. But that game, at some point, I had like my main guy all tweaked out and everything, and I had everything how I wanted. I was like going to the end game, and then, spoiler alert for this game that's super old, your main character was the fucking bad guy, and he turns on you, and then he's out of your party, and you gotta go kill him. And I was like, I spent like hours and hours playing this character, and I was like, the twist is, at the time I was pissed, and I thought about it, I was like, the twist is cool, but I'm never going to play this fucking game again. I'm never going to play any more fuck JRPGs on the GameCube.
So who
I never
becomes the
bought
main
another
character?
one. You can just like switch between everybody at that point.
Really?
Yeah, like because your main character is like locked in your party until that point, and then you can just pick whatever party you want, and it just pissed me off.
All right, guys, let's jump into the last portion of our show, and that is basically just going to be me and Andy and Jake, if he has any questions, wants to chime in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you two, the goal of this conversation is to try to convince me to play this game because
All right.
both of you bought this day one super fucking ready to come all over this game. I know Jesse, friend of the podcast, did too, and I know Brent's playing it as well.
He's playing it right now.
I mean, I've seen the trailer on IGN at least 20 times.
Yeah.
And it looks fun, but it just looks like every other average JRPG that I've seen.
Which is an argument. I get you.
And I did.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys are going to be talking about this game for like the best 10 games of the year at the end of the year. That's my guess.
Probably, yeah, 10.
So we're talking Octopath Traveler, which came out a week ago on the Nintendo Switch. As Andy's had some time to put into it, and I just got started about 3 hours into it. But Andy, without going into anything specific, how's your playthrough been going?
So I've played about 20. I'm between 25 and 30 hours. I've been going through very methodically. Besides one character, so I've been going through. I did all the chapter 1s, and then I'm going through and I did all the chapter 2s except for one character I'm skipping because I hate her. And then I started the chapter 3s just today actually. My general thoughts. So the way I think this kind of fixes some of the JRPG problems, which is like getting, grinding a whole ton, and it kind of gets boring because the battle system is very active. You have a lot of stuff to like watch and manage when you're in the battle, and the way that they set up the break system where you can hit enemies that have certain weaknesses, and then if you hit them enough, it knocks them out for a couple turns, so you can just like wail on them and you do extra damage. So in that way they kind of force you to use alternate abilities that you wouldn't always be using. So like in a lot of RPGs, you can just grind and like just start smashing on stuff with your swords and all that stuff. But in this game, they'll say, okay, this guy's weak to fire or light or only axes or swords or whatever. So then you have to hit them with that kind of thing in order to weaken them to get them down. So in that way, they keep you involved in the combat, even when you're just like walking around like grinding, trying to, do whatever you can.
Yeah, for me, so I was really concerned when I first started because it was very text heavy, which I don't like JRPGs, but it might have been the character I chose. But once I got past it, like the story was good, and they were building it up, and then once like appears to be like a traumatic event for every character that launches them into their travels. And I liked that pitch because it gets you hooked on, and it had me really concerned. Like, oh man, I want to go back to this guy, but it wants me to keep going to go on to my next character. So I'm liking that hook that they're creating with what happens to this guy, what happens to this girl, and all these travelers. I like the battle system too. It's not like where I'm just gonna hit tap A so I can grind and get through these guys. You gotta be methodical in how you attack. Yeah, and it's different. Battles don't have to take long, but they also do sometimes to break these enemies, as you said. But for all that good stuff, the best thing about this game for me so far has just been the visuals and the music. Yeah, this game is beautiful and it sounds fantastic.
I think the visuals are very. So I was kind of mentioning like 3D RPGs as opposed to 2D ones, and I feel like the 2D RPGs really they kind of give you that like storybook fantasy kind of feel, and this one just takes that to the next level because it's like you're walking through a pop-up book or something at certain points, like a diorama kind of, because it's 3D models with like these like very basic sprite art over it, and then they'll add like atmospheres like fog or rain or whatever just to kick it up another notch. It looks great.
I swear that every level or thing I've walked through has been orchestrated music, like legit orchestrated music.
And it's all unique music too.
Yeah, and each area, literally each town or pathway you go through has its own orchestrated piece. Just talked about your visuals there. I got the Wayfarer's edition, which is like the collector's edition of this game. And it comes with the game, it comes with a cloth map, but it also comes with the display box that folds up, and like 10 pages are actually fold-out pages.
Oh, so that's cool.
And it creates a diorama of a certain scene
that's so cool.
within the game.
So I kind of wish I would have got it.
It's really cool. It's like one of the coolest collector's editions I've seen, because you can literally lock a page, like, I want to keep it on this display. And it has like the characters and the background where they started.
Like a pop-up book.
Sweet.
Yeah, I actually missed that was part of the collector's edition. I probably would have got it if I saw that. I'm not a big collector's edition guy to begin with, but that sounds like one of the cooler add-ins I've heard of.
And you're a little farther than I am, but how is the mean, I kind of mentioned I was worried about text heaviness, but how is the storytelling going so far in your gameplay?
So this is where I kind of run into an issue, but I kind of don't. So there's 8 stories going on simultaneously, but when you jump into a story, it very much like all your other characters are off screen. It's just the one character whose story you're doing. You see acting in the story, I guess, and then the other characters are. You could just be there alone, basically. Like they don't matter at all. They fixed this a little bit because there's like segue stories. So like you'll be done with a scene that might be text heavy. They're a little text heavy. It never really lays up on that. But you'll end like a scene and then maybe another character has something to say, like have a conversation with you. But it's not like anything that has bearing on the story. It's just like, hey, the warrior thinks you could have kicked that guy's ass harder, or little stuff like that. Which is kind of neat for like character building between the characters, but you never really feel like they're all helping out with something. They're just kind of like there consequentially with a certain character's story.
Or it's your turn to take the spotlight.
Yeah, basically.
So that sparks the question, and we're remaining spoiler free because obviously I just started.
Yeah.
What character did you start with, Andy?
So I played through the demo twice.
Okay.
Because I knew that my second playthrough I would have that character as my that'd be my playthrough that I start. So the first time I started with Ulbrich the warrior, who is one of my favorite characters, and I went through. And then the second time I started with Primrose the dancer, whose story is like people are calling it like dark and edgy or whatever online. It's like not really. I mean, it's kind of weird that it's about sex trafficking, kind of.
Pretty much.
Oh.
Which is weird, but it's done in like that we're gonna talk about it, but not talk like we're not gonna say what it is, but you kind of like imply that there's sex trafficking happening. It's weird, but I actually did not know when I started that the first character you start with is stuck in your party the whole game.
Yeah,
I did not know that, and so I started maxing out Primrose because I was like, I'm not really crazy about this whole dancer. Like, I don't like 3 things in these games, like buff characters. I don't really like thief characters because I just feel like they're shittier warriors, and then I don't really like pure clerics.
Yeah,
exactly. So those 3 characters in the game I'm like not crazy about, but Primrose I dual classed her with the mage, so she's a lot better now.
Nice.
My favorite character is Alphys the apothecary, because I kind of hate healers, but he kind of fixes the healer thing because he also has a giant axe, and he has one of the most devastating moves in the game, which is amputate.
Oh, really?
Which is like this huge axe attack. Oh, it's great. So he's awesome.
I'm not as remotely as far as you are, but my first character I chose, and I just thought, this sounds different, and I'd never played a character like him, and that was Cyrus, the scholar.
Oh yeah, he's cool too.
I thought like this could be a bad idea because if he's not tough, my first playthrough is gonna be really rough. But I loved his story intro, and then the order I'm going into the map, it's just kind of like a backwards circle. So I'm working up to this Ophelia character.
Oh, she's the worst. I hate her.
Really?
Gosh, she's Elsa from Frozen.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that's what the area looks like.
She's terrible.
I was going to ask you, what did you think of the overworld?
So the overworld I'm not crazy about because I feel like it's super linear.
Sure.
And the maps are kind of hard to follow. Like you always have to go to the signpost to see like which way you're supposed to walk because the map will look like you can go a certain way, but then you'll find yourself like on the other side of the map you don't want to be at.
Right.
But I mean, other than it being a little misleading, it is also a little linear, and eventually the danger level of these areas like jumps up. So there's a point where you'll have to fast travel between towns to find out which route you want to go on that is level appropriate for you to grind in, because you find yourself in like a way high level area that's like, I can't even do anything here.
Right.
And there's no way to see what that is until you physically walk in there.
So that's how I did too, because I left my first area as a level 3, and I got to this area, like, warning, level 14. I'm like, I'm sure I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Nope, I got slaughtered.
Yeah,
so I just backtracked immediately.
It's pretty merciless when you go into an area you're not supposed to be in. Like there was I was looking at the map when I was trying to find how to get to Ophelia, or no, not to get to Ophelia, to get to Primrose's second chapter, which is like north of whatever area she's in.
Sure.
And the map doesn't really show you where you're supposed to go, so I assumed I was supposed to go through this like mountain range area, and I ended up running into this sub boss that was like, oh, and I had to like sit there and like just use all my items to try to kill him. It sucked. I got him, but it was like, well, wrong way. Turn
Right.
around. Yeah.
Bring us back to our overall episode here. For you, Andy, how do you think this particular Octopath Traveler separates itself from other JRPGs?
So I feel like it kind of goes back to where my favorite JRPGs were. So like I said, it reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy VI, especially the when you go into combat, when you still have your sprite characters and then the enemies are like these more complex looking sprites, like shaded well and everything, and then you're like these little twerpy looking dudes, like these little midget friggin' guys with tiny axes and shit.
Right.
Like I liked that about Final Fantasy VI. It was just unique. And then this one, like, it does the same thing. And then I love when you fight like the end boss of whatever story chapter you're in. They're like this, like it's like a merchant who's like this evil merchant or whatever. And then you fight him and he's like this big buff freaking dude with like this giant sword on his back.
He becomes a giant.
Yeah, you're like, when did this happen? But I understand it because I've played a lot of games like that, and it just looks like I was playing this and my girlfriend walked in like, what's wrong with that guy? Why is he enormous? I'm like, just go away.
It's just like
this is
like,
me time.
It's like a Final Fantasy twist where usually Final Fantasy takes a human-based character and turns him to a god creature.
Yeah.
This one is just blowing him up bigger size.
Yeah, they're just larger.
Yeah, which I like because it makes you appreciate like the art behind it.
It's visually very cool and it makes them look more threatening too. And I feel like there's a lot of little subtle animation in those too, where like you'll see them like bouncing, or you'll see like their cloak flowing or something. Just little things that make it just look a little better.
Right. It kind of respects the previous games where this is coming from.
Mm.
And that's just like pretty much I don't call it the item menu system and how you level up your characters.
Yeah.
It feels so rewarding where you see your character level up and you get your job points and you get to level up that stuff. And of course, like some RPGs go too far with creating menus and sub-menus of that for your items and your perks and all that stuff. This one keeps it just enough streamlined where it's not too confusing, but everything makes sense to each character's abilities.
Yeah, and like I said, I also like how every character has like their little thing. So like Alphys is the only character who can use the apothecary. I can't say that fucking word. Apothecary items, where like you combine seeds and other ingredients to like make, here's a salve to like cure everyone of poison, or here's like here's a thing that deals like fire damage twice to like try to break somebody down a little bit and barely does damage or whatever. And then
let's talk about real quick what other people have been saying about it. This game is cleaning up nicely with reviewers. IGN gave it like a 93, Game Informer gave it an 80, and people are really mostly liking it. It's right above like average, really good. But one of the biggest it's kind of split. People are saying they don't like this and they don't like this. I mean, to your point, Andy, do you miss what overall people are saying is we're missing an overall big baddie here?
Yes, I was actually going to bring that up. So I feel like this would be a really great game to have a DLC pack with a final story in it, because with like everyone coming together to take down something. I know why they didn't do it, because then it would kind of distract from these 8 stories they're trying to tell, which I find weird because the stories aren't that unique. There's really nothing like there are no original stories here really. There's like the thief. They're like, go take these 4 treasures. Maybe there's a twist at the end. I don't know yet. I assume there will be.
Right.
Just like the warriors, like I have to go hunt down my old friend, and the hunter, I have to find my master. It's like, this has been told before. It's not like you're really breaking any ground here. So why not just have them all converge into one overarching story with like a big god level bad or whatever, which is what I love about these games. But
yeah, it's very common for Square Enix to have that in it, but so I'm not sure. I think it's cool / odd that it's just missing in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. And I was kind of hoping there would be something like that, but so far it hasn't really. Just knowing that there isn't one, kind of like in the back of my head, I'm like, I know this isn't like going anywhere with like everyone coming together or whatever, but at the same time, it hasn't really bothered me as far as just playing the game goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I've heard like the reviewers are saying like they've beat their main character story and it's like 50 hours in.
Yeah.
So if this is just as long for each character, you're looking at a big girthy game.
So I believe you can play through like I'm 25 hours in or so, and I've beaten 7 of the characters' second chapters, so maybe it's a thing where they're not playing efficiently or something. I'm not sure.
So some pre-context, the last question regarding this game. Sales, this game is cleaning up really well. This game is selling out. People are buying it more than Nintendo and Square Enix actually planned on, because there was a game shortage for this game in Japan.
Yeah, you can't get it on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
Because it's just in backlog.
And the collector's edition just came back up for in-store purchase because it was missing for so long. So it's a good sign just for we're all Nintendo fans here. So a good JRPG cleaning up like this on the Switch in July, like that's huge for them. After some really bad press with their stock lately.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this signals to them that they either need to start bringing more JRPGs over, or they need to maybe like port, hey, Chrono Trigger, hey, Mother 3, bring Mother 3. Mother 3, like I said, I don't understand why they don't have it on there. It will sell fucking gangbusters. If you put it on there for like $15, I'll buy it 6 times and I don't give a shit. It's great. I love it.
With the success of it all and how people are responding to the game, and just because this is different from other JRPGs we've really seen in this fashion, does Nintendo greenlight and with Square Enix a sequel to this game immediately?
If they think that there is a sequel to be made, so when I kind of mentioned that I'd like there to be like an endgame DLC, I don't see it happening from what I've seen so far. It doesn't seem like there's room for it. Like it doesn't need to be in there. I could see there being an Octopath 2 with just
Octopath Traveler.
yeah, 10 more characters.
Why the fuck not?
I mean, if they did make a sequel, I think it would just be completely disjointed, be in a different region, different characters, and all that.
Which I'd be down for, because I think if they get the storytelling stuff, they got the art down, they got the music down. Maybe they could refine the storytelling just a little bit, and avoid some other tropes that we've seen with this game so far. But you gotta be. People are arguing that we still need more JRPGs for the Switch. Why would you not push something that's already been an instant classic for fans?
And now that they've made this game, they have the engine and they have the bones to make another game like this. Even if it wasn't Octopath, even if it was like they wanted to make. I heard somebody throw out Final Fantasy 6-2 because they've done like the 10-2, 12-2, whatever. They could easily just do like a 6-2 because this kind of feels like that anyway.
Right.
I think that'd be great. So, something like that.
Or if they ever wanted to do an HD port.
Of
6
my god,
that's what they should do.
Oh my god,
I don't see them doing a sequel, but an HD port like this.
Yeah. All right. So this is purely doesn't really account for anything, and we don't get a chance to really rate games at all. And we're not really in a position to, but we're going to go ahead and do it just for fun. Andy, with what you played so far, what would you rate this game on the Super Media All Stars scale?
So I thought about this quite a bit. I think I would give it a 4.
Nice.
Which is solid 4, not 4.5, not 5, 4. There are things they could shore up in this game, especially the story, just because the story is so far very weak. I just like the gameplay enough that it covers for it, and I like the characters, even if their stories aren't that interesting. I like the characters for like the personalities they gave them, and the even had like the clothing they have on, like the outfits. Like when you change jobs, you get different clothing and everything. Like, it's all very well done. Give it a 4, solid 4.
Based off the 3 hours that I've played in this game,
Nice.
I really enjoyed it, and like I said, what's really carried me so far is mostly just the music and visuals, and Cyrus, the
scholar.
The scholar,
Yep.
yes, thank you. His story's been really good so far. His setup's been nice. I'm really to see what the payoff is, and I hope the payoff's good. But I'm right with you. I'm at a 4.
I also just to put an asterisk next to that once I finish it, I feel like this could go up to a 4.5, or it could drop to like a 3.5 or a 3, depending on how bad the wheels come off in the late game. Just because that's a big part of these games.
Well, that and like half the reviewers are basing their scores off 1 or 2 characters they've beaten their stories in their entirety, not the whole game. Which it sounds like this game's gonna be 250 hours plus.
Yeah, I'll definitely beat every character. I'll even beat Ophelia eventually.
And that's something to be said. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it, but do you like? We all on the same page? We usually play our Switch for like an hour or 2.
Nope.
No.
Well, I mean, the majority of the time, yes. But there are some times where I just play handheld for like 4 to 6 hours.
Wow, nice.
It's the best. I love it.
Yeah, I'm usually like with a lot of games I'll play 1-2 hours or something, but with this game I've sat and played it for like a good 4 hours at a time, a few times.
I feel like this game in particular, compared to like Breath of the Wild, or I mean, Odyssey is kind of built this way, but it's good for chunks.
Yeah.
Like a chapter maybe is like an hour.
an hour or two. The later ones maybe longer, but yeah, I do feel like I feel like the way it's set up, they want you, and I think the developer said they want you to play like one chapter at a time, take a break for a while, play next chapter, take a break.
Classic Nintendo.
Yeah,
Go outside and play.
Yeah, exactly. They tell you that.
Do
kind
your
of stuff.
stretches. Come back.
Love it.
But yeah, I was. I might have,
Open a window. Have that breeze come in.
I might have played Breath of the Wild for 20 hours straight at one point when it first came out.
There's a lot of people not though, but yeah.
I'll admit it. I think the Saturday this came out, I had nothing to do that day. I think I played Octopath for maybe 6 hours in a row, and that was like to get all the first chapters out of the way. Loved it. Didn't have any problems.
Nice.
Yep. Great.
If you were playing Octopath Traveler, let us know what you think. It's gonna be obviously an ongoing game, so let us know what your thoughts are in our YouTube comments or podcasts. Let us know what you think. All right, let's jump into the last portion of our show, and that is Andy is taking over with the Metacritical Trivia.
What's the first thing you think of when you think of JRPGs and shapes? That's right, square. And without tonight's theme, we wouldn't have either of those. Last week we referenced geology. This week, Metacritical Geometry Edition. Hit the theme!
Critical, we wanna get critical. Digging into critical, digging into deeper thought. To deeper thought, digging into deeper thought.
This is Metacritical. Here are the rules of the game. As a reminder, I'm going to give you the name of a game. You're going to give me the score between 0 and 100. You are also going to tell me whether the users liked it more or less, or, and this may become relevant tonight, the same as the reviewers. You will get 1 point knocked off of your overall score if you give me the correct user up, down, or sideways. The objective of the game is to get as close to the Metacritic score as possible, and you will get points off based on how far away you are from that score. You want the lowest score possible.
Let's do this.
All right. What would you call the Nintendo Switch? Its shape is clearly rectangular, but when each Joy-Con is docked, it takes on a rounder, more oval shape. So which is better? Straight lines and sharp corners, or rounded lines and no corners? Like the little girl in the old El Paso commercial says, why can't we have both?
Porque no las dos!
Squares and circles face off in our first game, Puyo Puyo Tetris, for Nintendo Switch 2017.
Wow.
Okay. Yep.
Start with John. What do you got?
I had the score at 75 and users liking it more.
And Jake.
I had my score at 73, and I had users liking it less.
Okay. The actual Metacritic score for Puyo Puyo Tetris, 81. Wow. And the users liked it the exact same.
Damn it.
81.
Wow.
All right, after the first round, John with 6 and Jake with 8.
I'm okay with this.
That's probably one of the best starts we've ever had.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is a dead heat. Oh, you listened to last time.
Seth dominated.
Seth destroyed them. It was
Really
bad.
That was good.
Critical, we wanna get critical.
Next up, not all gamers chug Mountain Dew and chow down on pizza rolls. Some of them are your parents and elders. In the mid-2000s, Nintendo converted an entire demographic into customers with the release of the Wii, but at the same time sold an outstanding number of Nintendo DS units to those same people by drawing them in with a game that asked you to draw shapes, memorize numbers, and perform a variety of other simple tasks that promised to boost memory and brain function. The game is Brain Age, Train Your Brain in Minutes a Day, the Nintendo DS 2005 release. All right, I'll start with you this time, Jake.
I went 76, and I went higher because everybody loved this game.
All right, and John.
I put 80 and I said lower.
The actual Metacritic score for Brain Age, Train Your Brain in Minutes a Day, 71. And the users liked it, again, exactly the same.
You bitch.
Okay, after the end of the second round, John is behind with 25 points and Jake in the lead with 13.
Ooh. It was a big jump there.
Yeah,
I still consider this a dead heat.
Then get critical, critical, critical.
Last week, you made wagers on the score for Armageddon, a movie about a small spherical object that has the capacity to end all life on Earth. This is a puzzle game with the same premise. A tiny ball, if left to its own devices, will eventually destroy the planet, and that ball is you. Take on the form of the destroyer in Katamari Damacy, PlayStation 2, 2004.
This game's the best.
What do you got? We'll start with you again, John.
Based off recent talk, 90, and I had users higher.
I could see it being 90. I went kind of conservative because this game is crazy. I don't know how people would rate it. I did 83 because it is good, but I don't know if people thought it was like too crazy, like too zany, like the humor is too weird.
And the users?
Higher.
The actual Metacritic score for Katamari Damacy, 86. The users liked it higher at 89.
Nice.
All right, at the end of the third round, John's still behind with 28 and Jake in the lead with 15. However, anything can happen.
Then get critical, critical, critical.
In this game, the beautiful blue sphere you've called home for 6 years has already been destroyed. Familiar places are torn in two by earthquakes. Lakes exist where there was once desert, and a mysterious island emerges from the depths of the ocean. For the fourth time, the forces of Azeroth gather to take on the great and powerful foe in World of Warcraft Cataclysm, PC 2010 release, and you are only guessing the score for Cataclysm, the expansion.
I have no.
No, I don't know nothing about this.
That's why it's a good ending one.
Okay, back to Jake.
2010, WoW, I'm guessing was at like the height of his powers.
Okay.
90% people loved it. Going higher.
All right, and John.
I put 82 and people liking it higher.
I can't fucking believe this. For the third time in a row, Jake has guessed the exact right score on the fourth round of Metacritical. 90% for World of Warcraft Cataclysm. However, the users liked it way less at 56.
Why?
Wow.
I remember it being bad. I did play this a little bit, and it was divisive.
That's insane.
That's good.
Why do I keep on doing that?
Okay, the final score of Metacritical Geometry Edition. John in second place with 36, and Jake the winner with 15 points.
Woo! Nice.
Congratulations.
Then get critical, critical. We wanna get critical. Digging into critical. Digging into deeper thought. To deeper thought. Digging into deeper thought. Yeah.
That being said, that's been episode 52 of Super Media All-Stars. You can find us on all kinds of social media. The first one being Facebook at Super Media All-Stars. Please like and subscribe there. You can find us on Twitter at SmashPod. You can find us on Instagram at Super Media All-Stars.
You can follow me on Instagram at Steelbook Obsessed. I'm still doing some Criterion, but I'm doing some Steelbook probably next week because I bought enough to get like a week's worth of stuff. Excited to show that to you.
Check us out on all kinds of podcast services. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and iTunes. Check us out on Google Play. Check us out on Stitcher Radio and iHeartRadio. Anywhere you can find a podcast, check us out these days and like and subscribe. But also, check us out on YouTube.
But I think next week we're reviewing Mission Impossible Fallout.
That is true.
I can't fucking wait for this movie.
Yeah. The reviews are coming in. People are liking it. So hopefully it's a good sign.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, thank you for joining me. Audience, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Lasagna spaghetti.
Game over, man. Game over.
Bye-bye.
I am out of here.